each one of us, there is a dream. The challenge is how to achieve it. This journey will take inspiration, constant motivation, proper supervision, and strong connections. At Camel Park Training College, we know what makes your dreams come true. Now, all we need to begin in this journey is you. Enroll today in a variety of courses. Choose Camel Park Training College.
Je, wewe ni mmiliki wa aina ya gari aina ya Alto, Probox, Harrier, V8 na Lexus? Jipatie brake pads kwa bei nafuu hivi sasa. Vilevile oil filters kwa gari aina ya Toyota na vilevile Subaru. Ili upokee popote ulipo, piga simu kupitia nambari 0739318606.
Steer your future in the right direction. Safe driving starts here. Camel Park Driving School, now ready to quench your driving thirst. We offer NTSA certified driving lessons for upgrading, beginners, and refreshers. Our team of qualified instructors deliver content for the following classes: A1, A2, B1, B2, C, C1 and C2, D1 and the rest. We train learners with modern vehicles which fit the evolving digital world. Why choose Camel Park Driving School? We are situated within a serene environment which offers a humble space of study. Our classes are fitted with advanced materials which supports learning. Other benefits are flexible class schedule, pocket-friendly fees, proper theory and practical guide, annual operation and additional computer packages training. Spend less, learn more, drive forever. Apply now. For more information, call us on or SMS us on 0755 386 594 or 0753 915 354. Or you can email us on camelcollege@gmail.com, or also you can visit our offices at Kiogoro, which is 5 kilometers from Kisii town along Kisii-Kilgoris Road. Camel Park Driving School, shaping dreams on the wheels.
Mteja mpendwa, ni wakati sasa wa kujinyakulia aina ya flash disk kuanzia 8GB, 16GB na vilevile 32GB. Vilevile earphones, wireless headsets, unajipatia wireless microphones tofauti kwa bei nafuu. Yale ambayo unafaa kuyafanya hivi sasa ni kwamba unapiga simu kupitia nambari 0739318606. Yote unayapata kwa bei nafuu popote ulipo.
A very good morning wherever you are watching us from. I do say jambo Kenya, pale popote pale ulipo. Karibu katika kipindi chetu cha asubuhi, The Morning Buzz. Hapa tutakuwa tunakufahamisha yale ambayo yanaendelea humu nchini Kenya, yaliyomo magazetini, yale ambayo yameendelea kweli kweli, tukisema kwamba ni trending stories. And welcome to this Morning Buzz. I'm Jeff Nyakundi. My director is Alex Mungare, and of course every day we do start from the newspaper review, but to give you a tip-off of what is going on. Yesterday the president, that is President William Samoei Ruto, visited the family of the late member of parliament of Emuru Dikri, Johana Ngeno, at their residence in Nairobi to condole with the family. And of course, after the visit, there was given an announcement that there will be a requiem mass of the six people who perished in that airplane crash. That is an helicopter crash. On Wednesday, that is tomorrow. Thereafter, their bodies will be transported to their homes in Emuru Dikri constituency. And of course, they will be having a funeral on Friday this week, that is on 6th of March 2026. And of course, today being 3rd of March 2026, we welcome you to our broadcasts. And of course, you can be able to follow us on our social media platforms. On Facebook, we are live on our social media platform, and of course on our YouTube channel, not forgetting our TikTok, Instagram, and of course X account, where you can be able to follow us as Ndizi TV Africa. And welcome as we kickstart our morning, and of course from the newspapers. Before we get into the trending stories here and there, of course there's a lot that's happened since yesterday and up to today, and of course the whole night, not forgetting that there is the war between USA, Israel, and Iran. That is the Iranian leader, supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei was killed on Saturday. And of course, there is more development, and Iran being, of course, attacking where USA and of course Israel have their machinery. That is the fighting machineries. And of course, I will be informing you on what has been trending. So before we wait into that, first of all, let's start from that is from the newspaper review here at Ndizi TV Africa, and we start from the Standard newspaper. And of course, the Standard newspaper, as you can be able to see on your screen there, is that there is a lot that has been happening, and here they're talking about the Adani knocking again. Do you remember Adani? Adani is the company that was to be given a tender to do renovation to the JKIA. But it was later on, after the opposition or the united opposition and other leaders, of course, declined or criticized the government of giving them a tender. They were done away with, but now they are knocking again. And here they're saying that one of the stormiest issue that shook the Ruto administration is the aftermath of the Gen Z protests nearly 2 years ago, was the plan to lease a key national asset, Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, to that is a controversial Indian billionaire, Gautama Adani, under the guise of upgrading it. Now, days after a fresh court session on the matter, members of the opposition claim state operators are hunting for legal loopholes to quietly push Adani back into the deal on JKIA. That is a story published on page 4 and of course page 6, talking about what happened then 2 years ago when the Gen Zs did the protest, of course protesting against the finance bill, and of course what the president or the Kenya Kwanza administration had planned to do, and that made Gautama Adani to be sent away. But now as days are moving, they are trying to get to do the correct thing, of course, ensuring that they don't leave any stone unturned as they are planning again to welcome Adani back. And of course, from what we can be able to see there, there's some of the quotes that is from Benson Oduorpa, that is the KAA lawyer, saying that the current orders issued have perpetually limited my client KAA and most especially Adani Group, since we intend to initiate a fresh process for the redevelopment of the airport. Elsewhere, Tony Guchoka, that is an activist, saying that what's clear is that Ruto's government is looking for any illegal path for it to public participation, that is conservatory orders as issued by the High Court, is a 360-degree protection of the JKIA from Adani or another party from touching our airport. That is some of the statements made by the activists and of course the lawyer, and that is a story published on the Standard newspaper this morning. And other stories published there, of course, talking about Farm Kenya show that will be happening. Of course, they say that it is an advert actually that is happening. Of course, when you grab this newspaper, you can be able to have a look at it. Elsewhere, let's have a close look at the Daily Nation. And of course, the Daily Nation here, they're talking about why Ruto took a side on Iran war. Of course, from what we have been seeing on Saturday, after USA and Israel joint attack to Iran and killing the Ayatollah or the Supreme Leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, and of course, there is a lot. And of course, we saw the Iranian ambassador to Kenya mentioning that they will never attack Kenya because Kenya has no place where USA has put its machinery, more so the fighting jets and of course such a kind of machineries. But now here is what the Daily Nation, the author, said that why Ruto took sides on Iran war. As Kenyans trapped in Middle East speak out diplomacy after President Ruto's apparent criticism of Tehran for targeting other countries, the Foreign Affairs Ministry has clarified that Kenya is opposed to the spread of violence beyond the main protagonists. That is a story published on page 4, 5, 6, 7, and of course page 20 of the Daily Nation, talking about the backlash oil and gas prices are surging with the conflict that is disrupting global supplies. Maybe we might be seeing the gas, of course, the gas prices and of course the oil prices in the country going higher. That is as per the war that has been done or that is ongoing on Iran, USA and Israel. And of course, seeing that Iran attacking the tankers, of course, meli zilikuwa zinasafirisha mafuta, and we are expecting that there might be some changes. But why Ruto took sides on the Iran? That's a story published on page 4, 5, 6, 7, and of course page 20 of the Daily Nation. Elsewhere is that on the top of this newspaper, talking about from Athar brothers to Sudan's RSF immigration boss in passport saga. Ms. Evelyn Cheluget, the Director General of Immigration Services, by virtue of her post, faces scrutiny after reports that a Sudan paramilitary leader was given a Kenyan passport. The case rekindles her past roles in the issuance of work permits to notorious that is Armenian brothers. There's a story published on page 10, and of course talking about the security of the country and giving the very supreme document and of course for identification, that is the passport to non-Kenyan citizens. And this is, of course, this has been also opened some goons that happened earlier on some years back to the notorious Armenian brothers. And of course, that is the Atur brothers to Sudan RSF. And they are saying that this lady, Ms. Evelyn Cheluget, who is the Director General of Immigration Services, will be facing scrutiny and of course reporting and of course facing either charges if found guilty as per his roles or her roles, giving out the Sudan paramilitary leader was given a Kenyan passport, and of course the case has opened up the past role in issuance of the work permit to notorious that is Armenian brothers. That is a story published on page 10 talking about the security of the country and of course giving out these very important documents, that is the passport to non-citizens of the country, that is Kenya. And that's a story published on page 10. And of course, other areas talking about the war in Israel, Iran, and USA, and why the country, or that is the CEO of the country, that is President William Ruto, has taken sides on Iran war. That's a story. You can be able to have a look at it on page 4, 5, 6, 7, and of course page 20. Elsewhere, let's have a look at the Star newspaper. And the Star newspaper is talking about the deal between Rigathi Gachagua deal, a lifeline or landmine for Sifuna's camp. That's a question that has been tabled there. And of course, it is an analyst one reaction. Of course, support pays the biggest risk. That is talking about Rigathi deal, a lifeline or a landmine for Sifuna. Of course, remember that the ODM is now having two factions, the Rinda Mwananchi and Rinda Ground factions. The one faction led by Oburu Odinga, that is the Rinda Ground, and other leaders, including the chair of ODM, that is Gladys Wanga, and other leaders, including the deputy party leaders, that is the governor for Kisii County, Paul Simbarati, and of course, governor for 001, that is Mombasa County, Bwana Nasir. Elsewhere, the Rinda Mwananchi is headed by Edwin Sifuna, Godfrey Ososi, and of course, James Orengo, Babu Wino, and other leaders there. But now, the question is, if Rigathi, the Rigathi deal, that is having Sifuna on board, is it going to be a lifeline or a landmine for Edwin Sifuna's camp? That's a story published on page 6 talking about the politics and what has been happening currently more so in that is in political parties in the country. That's a story for people to have a look at on page 6. Elsewhere, talking about health, here is a story of Vayona, that is hooked to machines, hoping for India. Vayona's 9 million plea. That is a story published on the Star newspaper. That's on page 7, actually page 11, talking about keeping hope alive. Viona Wanjiru Kabita undergoes dialysis in India in July 2025. She hopes to undergo a third kidney transplant. That is in India, and of course all this is needing, needs more than 9 million Kenyan shillings to help from that is to have the kidney transplant successfully. And that is a story published on page 11 of the Star newspaper. Elsewhere, let's have a look at what they are talking about. Is an interview that was held, and of course from the health minister Aden Duale. Of course, the photo we are seeing there, it was during the launch of the Lena Kaprivi, the long-acting PrEP at Riruta Health Center in Nairobi. That is on February 26. Here, dual on share reforms, fraud crackdowns, cancer covers, and of course digital health, saying that Health Cabinet Secretary Aden Duale has lifted the lead on the reforms in the health sector, some of which have stirred political controversy. In an exclusive interview with the Star, he spoke on 100 billion, that is 100 billion shillings, Social Health Authority digital system, cancer cover caps, flood crackdown, and the battle over foreign doctors. He said more than 1,180 fraud files have been forwarded for investigation. That is 12.7 billion shillings in suspicious claim blocked by artificial intelligence systems, and dozens of facilities suspended. That's a story published on page 4 and of course page 5 of the Star newspaper, having a conversation, when the Star had a conversation with the CS Health, Aden Duale, and of course what he has mentioned out. And of course from yesterday what we've been seeing that is that the system for SHA has been down, and of course Mbasi Mwangaki, who is the PS there, confirmed that there's something that has been which is being done, and of course it will be back, and we are waiting to see whether it is going to work out. And remember, most Kenyans have the scenario or know that the SHA has not been working, and others claim that still it's not working, more so when the patients get to the hospital and being told to pay for 1 year for them to access the services. Elsewhere is that on top of the newspaper, that is the Star, on page 2, there is talking about insecurity. that is the news on page 2. Gang capital, crime surges in city as cops scramble for answers. That is showing the photo of the Inspector General, Douglas Kanja, and of course talking about the gangs in capital cities, Mwaso in Nairobi and other cities in the country, where the crime surges in the city as the cops, that is the police officers, scramble to get answers to what is happening currently. And that is a story published on page 2. And of course, not forgetting, there is a pullout of course, every Tuesday on the Star newspaper. We have the pullout of My Government. That is for government tenders and job opportunities. You have to look at or see My Government pullout inside the Star newspaper, and of course have a close look at it for you to do the application, and for those who do the supplies, and of course they can be able to grab their tenders there and of course do what's necessary. Elsewhere, let's have a look at the People's Daily. And here the People's Daily, they're talking about staffing nation. Of course, when other parts of the country is experiencing a lot of rain, and of course other parts of the country there is a drought and people are starving, of course almost dying, others have died, and of course their animals, and of course the goats, sheep, camels, and of course cows, they have died. It's talking about Kenyan's broken food security plan. That's a story published on page 4, talking about how the plan for food security is not sufficient, and of course it is broken as per the People's Daily. And that's a story published on page 4. And the picture we are seeing there, remember the people living in the northeastern part of the country, most of them, they go digging ditches and of course trying to get water for their animals and of course for their use. And it can be distances that you have to travel far away for you to get. And of course, talking about the Kenyan broken food security plan, the story has been published on page 4 of the daily, that is the People's Daily. That's where you can be able to have a look at it. Elsewhere, on page 6 of the People's Daily, that is the Auditor General, land meant for children's institutions grabbed. Of course, what the Auditor General here is talking about, the land meant for children's institution grabbed. There is a story published on page 6 as per the reports indicated by the Auditor General of the Republic of Kenya. And of course there is a lot that she has been showing off recently, and from the past, actually from last year, and now another report being tabled here about the grabbing of land meant for children institutions. Also on page 11 is that as world remembers Wangari Maathai, is Karura at risk again? Talking about a story published on page 11, talking about keeping our forests safe, and of course ensuring that we have fresh air, and of course looking at the changing, of course the climate changes currently. And the question is, as the country remembers Wangari Maathai was one of our own lady in the country who fought for the forests in the country, Mwaso, Nairobi, and Karura Forest, to ensure that there is enough trees planted in the area, and to keep away those who do or scatter that is the forest, to do to build up the hotels or build up residents there, here and there. But now as we are remembering her today, is it that Karura Forest is at risk? And of course, from last week, what we have been seeing is that there's talks about what is happening, some clearance of trees there to set up residents there, and of course the hotels having questions or raising a lot of concerns and questions to what is happening on that is on Karura Forest. That is a story published on page 11 of the People's Daily, and those are the key stories published on the People's Daily today. Let's now move on and look at the Taifa Leo newspaper. And of course, Taifa Leo newspaper, there is a lot that has been published there, talking about that is talking about the Kenyans living abroad. So the story that has been given more bold, they are saying that masaibu ya Wakenya waliokwama vitani, kwa kwamba takriban Wakenya 1400 wanaoishi katika mataifa ya Mashariki ya Kati wajaa hofu ya kushambuliwa. Pale kusema kwamba ni hofu Wakenya ni kati ya raia wa kigeni na wenyeji katika mataifa ya Mashariki ya Kati wasioruhusiwa kutoka majumbani mwao hata kurejea katika nchi zao hawawezi, kwani safari nyingi za ndege ni marufuku. Hofu ni tele kutokana na mashambulizi ya Iran dhidi ya kambi za jeshi za Amerika katika ukanda huo. Hayo yanajiri huku Ruto akionekana kuunga Amerika. Taarifa ambazo zimechapishwa katika ukurasa wa pili na bila shaka katika ukurasa wa 8 katika gazeti hili la Taifa Leo, na picha ambayo tunaona pale ni baadhi ya makombora ambayo yalirushwa kuvamia baadhi ya maeneo pale katika eneo lile la mataifa ama Mashariki ya Kati, mataifa ya Mashariki ya Kati, kwa kwamba ni vita kati ya nchi ya Marekani ikihusisha nchi ile ya Israeli na bila shaka wakishambulia nchi ya Iran. Na bila shaka tuliona Iran ikijibu na kupiga ama kutupa makombora katika maeneo. Marekani imeweka mahali ambapo kambi za Marekani za jeshi zipo katika eneo lile la ukanda huo wa Mashariki ya Kati. Na taarifa zinginezo ambavyo vidokezo zaidi ni kwamba mgogoro wa ya ODM UDA wa Chacha wakisema kwamba kundi la waasi linataka ushirikiano wa Ruto na ODM ufunjwe kwa kutotimizwa ama kwa ahadi ambazo hazijatimizwa. Taarifa ambazo zimechapishwa katika ukurasa wa 3, na picha ambayo tunaiona pale ni picha ya aliyekuwa waziri mkuu hapa nchini Kenya na Rais William Samoei Ruto, ambayo ni picha ambayo walichukua wakiwa pamoja katika kutia sahihi kile ambacho walikuwa wanataja kwamba ni 10 points agenda, kwa kwamba ni mwaka mmoja unaenda kukamilika tangia kutia sahihi huo. Basi ikifika tarehe 7 itakuwa inakamilika mwaka mmoja, na maswali mengi yanaulizwa, je, ni nini kitakuwa kinaendelea? Wengi ama kundi la waasi likitaka ushirikiano wa ODM na UDA kufutiliwa mbali, kwani ahadi ambazo zilikuwa zimetiwa sahihi na zile ambazo zilikuwa zimetolewa bado hazijafikiwa. Kwingineko ni taarifa zingine ambazo zimechapishwa katika ukurasa wa pili. Pale tunaiona picha ya aliyekuwa naibu wa rais ambaye ni Rigathi Gachagua, marehemu mbunge wa Emuru wa Dikari Johana Ngeno, na bila shaka Rais William Samoei Ruto. Na hapa ni kipi kile ambacho kinatajwa? Ni kwamba ni urafiki tata wa Ngeno. Ni taarifa ambazo zimechapishwa naye Cecilia Odongo akisema kwamba maswali yameibuka kuhusu msimamo wa kisiasa wa mbunge wa Emuru ya Dikari Johana Ngeno ambaye aliaga dunia mnamo Jumamosi katika ajali ya helikopta. Hii ni baada ya aliyekuwa naibu wa rais Rigathi Gachagua kutoa madai aliyoashiria kuwa alikuwa na uhusiano wa karibu wa kisiasa na mbunge huyo aliyekuwa akihudumu kwa mhula wake wa 3 kama mbunge wa Emuru wa Dikari. Ni taarifa ambazo zimechapishwa katika ukurasa wa pili, na kile ambacho tumekuwa tukiona kikisambaa katika mitandao ya kijamii ni kwamba huyu mbunge Emuru wa Dikari kuna wakati mmoja walipatana na aliyekuwa naibu wa rais Rigathi Gachagua katika hoteli moja ambayo imetajwa kwamba ni Acacia Hotel pale Kisumu, wakati rais alikuwa serikali ya Kenya Kwanza wakati huo ilikuwa imeenda ziara eneo hilo la Nyanza. Na bila shaka kuna mambo yale ambayo yalizungumzwa kwamba Emuru wa Dikari Member of Parliament Johana Ngeno alikuwa amemunasa huyu Rigathi Gachagua akimnongonezea jinsi ambavyo atakuwa anapanga mabadiliko ya hapa na pale haswa katika serikali, na kile ambacho kilipelekea yeye kupata kufurushwa ama kuondolewa mamlakani, na kile ambacho kinatajwa hadi maaskofu na bila shaka viongozi wa makanisa walijaribu kuingilia kati ili kutafuta mwafaka kati ya rais na naibu wake wakati huo, na basi mambo yakaenda murama. Kile ambacho kinatajwa kwamba sauti ambayo ilikuwa imenaswa pale ilichezwa wakiwa hapo, na hilo ambalo lilifanya mkutano huu kutibuka. Ni taarifa ambazo zimechapishwa katika ukurasa wa pili katika gazeti hili la Taifa Leo. Na kwingineko ni kwamba ukurasa wa 5, koti ya zima aliyekosa mchango wa WhatsApp ashtaki kundi la kijamii katika WhatsApp kwa kutomchangia. Sijui ni wangapi ambao wamewekwa katika group za WhatsApp za kuchangisha either pesa za harusi, pesa za mazishi, maziko na bila shaka mambo kama hayo, kusaidiana hapa na pale. Lakini sasa ndugu mmoja hapa alienda mahakamani kushtaki wenzake katika grupu ya WhatsApp kwa kutomchangia wakati alipatwa na mziba, na bila shaka koti imeweza kuzima ama iliweza kuzima aliyekosa kuchangiwa katika grupu ya WhatsApp pale. Taarifa ambazo zimechapishwa katika ukurasa wa 5. Unapaswa kufahamu basi huyu yeye aliona hajapewa kitu akaamua kuelekea mahakamani, lakini mahakama bado imezima ndoto yake ya kutaka kuchangiwa na grupu ya WhatsApp pale. Walikuwa wanasema kwamba ni zaidi ya shilingi 1200, alikuwa anadai kwamba hachachangiwa. Na kwingineko ukurasa wa 13 hadi ukurasa wa 20, kila siku tunafahamu kwamba kila siku ya Jumanne basi ni Mwanaspoti, na pale wamechapisha taarifa kuhusiana na spoti ambazo zimekuwa zikiendelea tangia weekendi hadi sasa hivi na kile ambacho kinaendelea pale leo, akisema kwamba Real waweka offer mezani kusajili Rodri, pata uhondo wa spoti, udaku, ubashiri, ratiba na matokeo katika jarida bomba, ikiwa kwamba ni ukurasa wa 13 hadi ukurasa wa 20 katika gazeti hili la Taifa Leo, uweze kuelewa ni kipi kile ambacho kimekuwa kikiendelea katika fani ile ya spoti humu nchini Kenya. Na bila shaka vile ambavyo tunafahamu kuna majamaa walishinda tu meji weekend na wamekuwa wakipiga kelele. Ni yule jamaa mmoja niliwaambia kwamba siku moja wameshinda, alafu kanipigia simu saa 8 usiku kuniambia kwamba wameshinda na walishinda bao 1-0. Hao tunamfahamu kwamba ni yule jamaa ambaye anajiita ni Alex, lakini chao kimotoni, na tutakuwa angalia tuone vile mambo yatakuwa yanaenda hapa na pale, lakini ni sawa tu. Sema kwamba mchezo ni namna hiyo, lakini yote ni sawa. Tuseme kwamba hivyo ndivyo mchezo huwa, na timu zote zilishinda, na pale naona kwamba anasidi kusema kwamba kila timu ishinde ishinde mechi zake, lakini ni sawa. Hebu tuangazie gazeti hili la mwisho kabisa, gazeti la The People's, that is the Business Daily newspaper. Talking about the Business Day newspaper, saying that Iran war derails talks on 5.6 billion Kenyan steel deal. Ni kwamba what is happening is that a negotiation sought to lift export blockage. Nairobi goes slow on fear of upsetting US Gulf states. Talking about the war that has been had in Iran through US and of course Israel. Here talking about the Iran war raised the talks on 5.6 billion Kenyan tea deal. And of course there's a story published by Joseph Wangui, saying that talks between Kenya and Iran on the resumption of tea exporters have been thrown into uncertainty as the US-Israel war against Tehran widens yesterday's and locked set to last for weeks. And of course the two countries had established a joint committee to remove the trade obstacles and lift the ban on Kenyan tea exports, that is to their country. And that is a story that has been published on this newspaper, that is the Business Daily newspaper. You can have a close look at it and of course try to have an understanding on what is happening more so when it comes to the deal that had been agreed between, of course, the plan that was there between the two countries to ensure that they were talking about the export of export to Iran that was worthy was worthy 5.6 billion. And of course, the joint committee was expected to develop a framework to restore the trust, enforce quality standards, and of course, facilitate the resumption of the tea export within the 60-day deadline. And of course, the embargo has significantly impacted Kenyan tea farmers and exporters financially, that has intensifying calls for the swift. There's a story published on page 2 of the Business Daily on banking, saying that bank profits rise 20% to hit 311 billion on lower costs. Talking about the bank profits here. Kenya Commercial Bank grew their pre-tax profit by 20% in the year ended December 2025 to pass the 300 billion shilling mark for the first time, signaling higher dividend payout to shareholders and of course bonus for staff. A disclosure from the Central Bank of Kenya show the lenders posted a pre-tax profit of 311.8 billion shillings in the review period, up from 260 billion shillings a year earlier on reduced expenses. And of course here they say that the performance of the lender such as Equity Bank Kenya and KCB Bank Kenya will boost the group earning of institutions which have operations in other markets, including Uganda and Tanzania, and the performance signals a bigger headroom for banks to reward their shareholders with higher dividend payouts. And of course, the staff bonuses and salary increments are mainly pegged on company performance, with the pamper profits giving bank employees hopes of a huge payday at the end of this month. That is in tandem with the employers' performance. And that's a story published on page 4 of the Business Daily. Elsewhere, on the ticker side, is talking about members of parliament seek power to inspect 80 billion securitized revenues. That is the National Assembly wants power to inspect the securitization of government revenues stream in the funding of the key projects. That is a story published on page 5. Elsewhere, shares trading costs to rise on higher CDSC fee plan. That is the cost of the shares trading in the is set to rise from the new proposal that lifts the Central Depository and Settlement Corporation transaction levy. There is a story published on page 14. And of course, on top of actually on the pullout, talking about transform your NSSF Tier 2 contributions, there is a pullout. You can have a look at it later on when you grab this newspaper. And talking about the intelligence, that is on page 9. Kenya employs the largest share on its agricultural, that is on its population in agricultural, but generates the lowest returns. This is not just a story of the soil quality. It is a story of seeing how that Kenyans is having a largest share on its population on agriculture, but still doesn't make to satisfy and of course get enough food to satisfy their population in the country. And of course on the market data, talking about the exchange rate, that is between the Kenyan shillings and of course the US dollar, still remaining at 129.02. That is on Friday, and of course yesterday on Monday 129.02, and of course the exchange rate is at 0.00%. And of course lastly on page 19, talking about life, how I found healing in gardening after husband's paralysis. That is a story published on page 19. You can have a close look at it and of course know what happened and how did she find the healing in gardening after husband's paralysis here and there. And of course having a quick review on what we had here. That is the stories that we have looked at. That is from the Standard newspaper, was talking about the Adani knocking again. Is it that the country or the president or the Kenya Kwanza government is still getting back to Adani to give him the JKIA to do renovation? And of course, the Daily Nation was talking about why Ruto took sides on Iran war. And of course, Kenyans living in the Middle East, that is the UAE countries, being warned to take, of course, not to be very keen, and of course to take a caution on what's happening. And of course, on the Star was talking about the Ligati deal, a lifeline or landmine for Sifuna's camp. That is a question was asked, and that's a story that is published on page 6 of it. And of course, they were talking about Duale and of course the CS ministry, the CS minister Aden Duale, talking about the fraud crackdown, cancer covers, and of course the digital health. And on the People's Daily, we're talking about the Kenyan broken food security plan. And of course Taifa Leo was talking about masaibu ya Wakenya waliokwama vitani zaidi ya Wakenya 1400. katika mataifa ya Mashariki ya Kati wajaa hofu ya kushambuliwa. And those are some of the stories on the newspapers this morning. We are taking a quick break here at Ndizi TV Africa. Once back, I'll be taking you through the trending stories, and of course not forgetting that I had promised to take a look at the sports, that is the EPL, the league, and what has been happening. Ndio tuone kama yule jamaa wa mambo mengi tu ya kurukaruka na kusema kwamba wao ndio watachukua ligi. Yule jamaa wa mashetani mekundu, as much as wako nambari ya 3, lakini bado there is nothing they will be able to do. Angalia timu ambayo inaongoza pale ni Arsenal na pointi 64, lakini watu wa Manchester United wako pale, wako wapi? Tutauliza Man U hapa ni wapi? Anyway, hebu tuchukue mapumziko mafupi, nitakuwa nikirejea ili tupate kuendelea zaidi. Na wale ambao wanaendelea kufuatilia, endelea kufuatilia Ndizi TV Africa katika mitandao yetu yote. Namuona pale Sheira Kemunto ananiambia kwamba amo ndani na anafuatilia kipindi. Nasema sana shukran. Nitakuwa nikisoma ujumbe wako baadaye pale nikirejea kutoka mapumziko mafupi. Don't go too far, we will be coming back. My name is Jeff Nyakunde, and of course my director is Alex Mungare, jamaa wa Man U. Kila siku tu nikupiga kelele na haina maana.
Each one of us, there is a dream. The challenge is how to achieve it. This journey will take inspiration, constant motivation, proper supervision, and strong connections. At Camel Park Training College, we know what makes your dreams come true. Now, all we need to begin in this journey is you. Enroll today in a variety of courses. Choose Camel Park Training College.
Je, wewe ni mmiliki wa aina ya gari aina ya Alto, Probox, Harrier, V8 na Lexus? Jipatie brake pads kwa bei nafuu hivi sasa. Vilevile oil filters kwa gari aina ya Toyota na vilevile Subaru. Ili upokee popote ulipo, piga simu kupitia nambari 0739318606.
Steer your future in the right direction. Safe driving starts here. Camel Park Driving School, now ready to quench your driving thirst. We offer NTSA certified driving lessons for upgrading, beginners, and refreshers. Our team of qualified instructors deliver content for the following classes: A1, A2, B1, B2, C, C1 and C2, D1 and the rest. We train learners with modern vehicles which fit the evolving digital world. Why choose Camel Park Driving School? We are situated within a serene environment which offers a humble space of study. Our classes are fitted with advanced materials which supports learning. Other benefits are flexible class schedule, pocket-friendly fees, proper theory and practical guide, annual operation and additional computer packages training. Spend less, learn more, drive forever. Apply now. For more information, call us on or SMS us on 0755 386 594 or 0753 915 354. Or you can email us on camelcollege@gmail.com, or also you can visit our offices at Kiogoro, which is 5 kilometers from Kisii town along Kisii-Kilgoris Road. Camel Park Driving School, shaping dreams on the wheels.
Mteja mpendwa, ni wakati sasa wa kujinyakulia aina ya flash disk kuanzia 8GB, 16GB na vilevile 32GB. Vilevile earphones, wireless headsets, unajipatia wireless microphones tofauti kwa bei nafuu. Yale ambayo unafaa kuyafanya hivi sasa ni kwamba unapiga simu kupitia nambari 0739318606. Yote unayapata kwa bei nafuu popote ulipo.
Umekuwa ukitafuta chuo ambacho kipo mahali tulivu, cha kisasa na kinachotoa mafunzo yatakayokuwezesha kupata kazi nyakati hizi, na kina walimu waliohitimu. Bas Camel Park Training College ndicho chuo hicho. Wana courses za diploma na certificate kama housekeeping management, tourism management, food and beverage sales management, fashion design, cosmetology, information communication technology, graphic design, film production, broadcast journalism, marketing management, business management na zingine nyingi. Pia wana short courses kama vile computer packages, front office management, digital marketing, video editing na zingine nyingi. Admission inaendelea. Mwandikie barua msimamizi mkuu wa chuo hicho pamoja na vyeti vyako vya KCSE au result slip. Pia unaweza jisajili mtandaoni kwa tovuti yetu ya www.camelparkcollege.co.ke au upige simu kwa 0755386594 au 0753915354. Tupo katika barabara ya Kisii Kilgoris. Camel Park Training College, empowering excellence, inspiring innovation.
Naam, ni wakati wa kusikiza sauti inayobeba maono, busara na hali halisi ya kisiasa humu nchini. Karibu katika kipindi Sauti ya Uongozi. Hapa tutakuwa tunazungumza na viongozi kujieleza katika hali halisi ya yale ambayo waliahidi kuyafanya, na bila shaka kukupa wewe mtazamaji nafasi ya kuzungumza kama mwananchi wa kawaida kwa yale ambayo waliahidi kuyafanya katika maendeleo humu nchini.
But after making the payment, they delete it. Now, what kind of accounting is that? Because you are supposed to maintain the details of whoever you paid, so that the figures can balance.
Watu ambao wanafanyiwa sio kwamba ni wale wananchi wote ambao wako pale wanafanyiwa ile funding, ni makundi haswa. Na zile pesa kufika katika makundi ikamfikia mwananchi yule ambaye alikuwa anachangiwa akapata kiasi kidogo cha pesa. Ina maana kule kuzurula, ule msururu wa kuzunguka inakuwa ni kama ni null and void kwa mwananchi, anaiona kwamba analagaiwa.
If you graduated in 2016 and somebody graduated in 2020, the 2016 was to be given priority to get that job. But nowadays, members of parliament have taken over. They get the letters, they dish them in funerals, others they sell them to the highest bidder.
Kila wiki tutakuletea mahojiano ya kina na viongozi kutoka sekta mbalimbali na jamii kwa ujumla. Je, unajiuliza maswali ni kipi ambacho kinajiri nyuma ya pasia la uongozi? basi hapa ndipo unapaswa kukaa, mkao wa kutazama na kusikiza. Usikose Sauti ya Uongozi kila siku ya Jumamosi kuanzia saa 1 jioni hadi saa 3 jioni. Ndani ya Ndizi TV Africa, nami Jeff Nyakundi. Sauti ya Uongozi. Tunazungumza, tunajenga, tunabadilika.
Each one of us, there is a dream. The challenge is how to achieve it. This journey will take inspiration, constant motivation, proper supervision, and strong connections. At Camel Park Training College, we know what makes your dreams come true. Now, all we need to begin in this journey is you. Enroll today in a variety of courses. Choose Camel Park Training College.
Je, wewe ni mmiliki wa aina ya gari aina ya Alto, Probox, Harrier, V8 na Lexus? Jipatie brake pads kwa bei nafuu hivi sasa. Vilevile oil filters kwa gari aina ya Toyota na vilevile Subaru. Ili upokee popote ulipo, piga simu kupitia nambari 0739318606.
Steer your future in the right direction. Safe driving starts here. Camel Park Driving School, now ready to quench your driving thirst. We offer NTSA certified driving lessons for upgrading, beginners, and refreshers. Our team of qualified instructors deliver content for the following classes: A1, A2, B1, B2, C, C1 and C2, D1 and the rest. We train learners with modern vehicles which fit the evolving digital world. Why choose Camel Park Driving School? We are situated within a serene environment which offers a humble space of study. Our classes are fitted with advanced materials which supports learning. Other benefits are flexible class schedule, pocket-friendly fees, proper theory and practical guide, annual operation and additional computer packages training. Spend less, learn more, drive forever. Apply now. For more information, call us on or SMS us on 0755 386 594 or 0753 915 354, or you can email us on camelcollege@gmail.com, or also you can visit our offices at Kiogoro, which is 5 kilometers from Kisii town along Kisii-Kilgoris Road. Camel Park Driving School, shaping dreams on the wheels.
Mteja mpendwa, ni wakati sasa wa kujinyakulia aina ya flash disk kuanzia 8GB, 16GB na vilevile 32GB. Vilevile earphones, wireless headsets, unajipatia wireless microphones tofauti kwa bei nafuu. Yale ambayo unafaa kuyafanya hivi sasa ni kwamba unapiga simu kupitia nambari 0739318606. Yote unayapata kwa bei nafuu popote ulipo.
unatafuta chuo ambacho kipo mahali tulivu, cha kisasa na kinachotoa mafunzo yatakayokuwezesha kupata kazi nyakati hizi, na kina walimu waliohitimu, basi Camel Park Training College ndicho chuo hicho. Wana courses za diploma na certificate kama housekeeping management, tourism management, food and beverage sales management, fashion design, cosmetology, information communication technology, graphic design, film production, broadcast journalism, marketing management, business management na zingine nyingi. Pia wana short courses kama vile computer packages, front office management, digital marketing, video editing na zingine nyingi. Admission inaendelea. Mwandikie barua msimamizi mkuu wa chuo hicho pamoja na vyeti vyako vya KCSE au result slip. Pia unaweza jisajili mtandaoni kwa tovuti yetu ya www.camelparkcollege.co.ke au upige simu kwa 0755386594 au 0753915354. Tupo katika barabara ya Kisii Kilgoris. Camel Park Training College, empowering excellence, inspiring innovation.
Naam, ni wakati wa kusikiza sauti inayobeba maono, busara na hali halisi ya kisiasa humu nchini. Karibu katika kipindi Sauti ya Uongozi. Hapa tutakuwa tunazungumza na viongozi kujieleza katika hali halisi ya yale ambayo waliahidi kuyafanya, na bila shaka kukupa wewe mtazamaji nafasi ya kuzungumza kama mwananchi wa kawaida kwa yale ambayo waliahidi kuyafanya katika maendeleo humu nchini.
But after making the payment, they delete it. Now, what kind of accounting is that? Because you are supposed to maintain the details of whoever you paid, so that the figures can balance.
Watu ambao wanafanyiwa sio kwamba ni wale wananchi wote ambao wako pale wanafanyiwa ile funding, ni makundi haswa. Na zile pesa kufika katika makundi ikamfikia mwananchi yule ambaye alikuwa anachangiwa akapata kiasi kidogo cha pesa. Ina maana kule kuzurula, ule msururu wa kuzunguka inakuwa ni kama ni null and void kwa mwananchi, anaiona kwamba analagaiwa.
If you graduated in 2016 and somebody graduated in 2020, the 2016 was to be given priority to get that job. But nowadays, members of parliament have taken over. They get the letters, they dish them in funerals, others they sell them to the highest bidder.
Kila wiki tutakuletea mahojiano ya kina na viongozi kutoka sekta mbalimbali na jamii kwa ujumla. Je, unajiuliza maswali ni kipi ambacho kinajiri nyuma ya pasia la uongozi? Basi hapa ndipo unapaswa kukaa mkao wa kutazama na kusikiza. Usikose Sauti ya Uongozi kila siku ya Jumamosi kuanzia saa 1 jioni hadi saa 3 jioni ndani ya Ndizi TV Africa, nami Jeff Nyakundi. Sauti ya Uongozi. Tunazungumza, tunajenga, tunabadilika. Welcome back again as we continue here at Ndizi TV Africa. Of course, the morning bus with Jeff Nyakundi, and of course, my director is Alex Mongare. And what we are doing now is to give you what has been trending more so from political side of view, and of course what is going on. And Ariel, as I mentioned, is that the late member of parliament of Emuru Wadikri will be buried on Friday, that is the 6th of March 2026 at his home in Emuru Wadikri. And of course the Ruku Mass will be done tomorrow on Wednesday as per the statements that was given by the family or the committee that is planning the funeral for the slain 6 members who were on board on the helicopter that crashed on Mosop, that is in Nandi County. But before we get into more details about that, is that let's get to Western Kenya. And from Western Kenya, the member of parliament of Kimilili, and who is also eyeing for the Bungoma gubernatorial seat, Didmus Baraza, has asked the residents of Bungoma to stay united in the government as he drums up for packing up his gubernatorial race. And of course, he was speaking yesterday at Bungoma, where he had a political rally, and of course saying that the residents should of course support the current regime to ensure that they grab or they get more development. First of all, have a look at it, what the Didmus Baraza mentioned during his tour in Bungoma, Mwaso, where he is eyeing the gubernatorial race come 2027 general elections.
Na Rais William Ruto nione kusema nikae kwa UDA, nikae kwa UDA, nikae kwa UDA. Mimi nikae kwa chama ya UDA, hapo ndio nitakuwa na marafiki zangu wale wengine. Na mimi ni waombe wale watu wote ambao wanatafuta viti za MCA, tafuta wale ambao ni wa imani yangu, tafuta wale ambao wao na mimi tunafanana. Hata kama ni wakumbavu msiwafukuze, mimi nikiwa gavana yao nitaweka kichwa yangu, watakuwa wanatumia akili yangu kuongoza. Tumeelewana? Bora MCA mwenye yako na mimi, hata kama sura yake sio mzuri, akuwe mfupi, akuwe mrefu, akuwe mama, akuwe msichana, hata akuwe alifika class 7 ama form 4 ama university. Kama anafikiria polepole, mkinipigia kura kama gavana yenu, kazi yangu ya kwanza ni kuweka akili yangu kwa MCA wote wa Bungoma watumie ili tulete maendeleo kwa watu ya Bungoma ya kuenda mbele.
They do say that that is their job, of course, being a politician, kuwa mwanasiasa. That is the only job they do. They earn through what they say. Those are the promises that Didmus Baraza is giving, that what he will be able to do when he will be elected as the governor of Bungoma County come 2027, and saying that they should stay in the party of UDA and ensuring that even if kuna wale ambao hawana akili wakiteuliwa, basi ataweka kichwa yake pale. Hicho ndicho ama akili yake ndio watakuwa wanatumia kuongoza. Sio maneno ya Jeff, sio maneno ya Ndizi TV Africa, bali ni maneno ambayo ameyataja yule Didmus Baraza akiwa pale Bungoma akipiga kampeni yake, huku akisema kwamba atakuwa anawania kiti cha ugavana ifikapo mwaka 2027. Kwingineko ni kwamba waziri wa fedha John Mbadi saying that he will remain active in politics despite serving as the cabinet secretary of Treasury, and of course he is arguing from the point that he was elected to leadership and was never interviewed for the position. This was John Mbadi speaking yesterday in one of the forums that he attended in a hotel, in some hotel yesterday. Let's first of all hear what John Mbadi mentioned. Thereafter we can give our comments.
Uliza kwa nini mawaziri are getting involved in campaigns, and I asked them, where did you see me appear before Public Service Commission doing an interview to be a CS? I was elected politically and I know I will leave office politically, therefore I must be political. So tomorrow I will be here to sell the agenda of our party. You know, Walimu, I want to just plead with you. because a lot has been said, and there is nothing wrong with those who are opposed to government programs saying what they are saying.
Johnny Mbadi there arguing that he never appeared to the boardroom or to be interviewed as a CS, but first of all he was chosen as he was elected as a leader. Then thereafter he was picked as a CS in Treasury, and of course they're saying that as much as he is the CS for Treasury, he cannot stay without talking about politics. And of course, the area around, as I mentioned, is that politicians, they eat from what they say and what they promise us, and etc. and etc. And that is what they are trying to put across. But the Constitution categorically states that the cabinet secretaries, they are supposed to be barred from active politics. If they are doing politics, then it should be jini ya maji pale kwa carpet. Elsewhere is that the governor for Trans Nzoia, George Natembeya, though we have no that clip, but it's something that has been trending on social media, is that he appeared that his political mission is to weaken, or is to ensure that some of the members of parliament, and of course those serving in the Kenya Kwanza administration, so the Speaker of the National Assembly, that is Speaker Moses Wetangula, to ensure that they are weakened politically in their battlefield, so in Trans Nzoia, when he was leading the Tawe movement in Trans Nzoia. That is the influence that he was having. Actually, we had people chanting Tawe, everything Tawe, Tawe, even the Speaker of the National Assembly, Tawe. That was the statements, and of course something that we have seen the Governor Natembeya that is Governor Natembeya of Trans Nzoia is ensuring that kwa ground mambo ni tofauti, and he's saying that he can't be, of course he was chosen as the governor for Trans Nzoia County, but Kenya is a democratic country. Anybody can be able to speak or support support any political party, any political figures in the country, but for him, he is currently in opposition, and being in opposition, his mandate is not to praise President Ruto, but to criticize. That is what he mentioned from the statements that he made yesterday. Elsewhere is that Professor Kithure Kindiki yesterday warned, who is also the deputy president, warned Gachagua over criticism of the government as they are heading for the United Opposition tour for Meru. Actually, today, the United Opposition is expected to be touring Meru County and other areas of that Mount Kenya. And of course, he spoke categorically yesterday and giving a warning that stop criticizing the government. Of course, first of all, it's what the deputy president, Professor Kithure Kindiki, mentioned. Remember, the similar way he mentioned, he said a similar thing when the by-election was happening in Mbeere North, and of course, what we know from the song or the phrase wamtende trending, and nitakuvua nguo wewe nani wewe, and of course he repeated that yesterday. First of all, it's what he mentioned.
Mimi nasikia kuna watu wana safari hapa sijui siku gani. Nyinyi nani? Wewe nani? Wewe nani? Wewe nani? Ukifika hapa kuja na heshima bwana. Wewe kuja na heshima. Usikuja na madharau. Usikuja na kiherehere. Usikuja na kimbelembele. Sisi hapa hatupendi madharau. Na sisi hatuna shida na mtu yeyote. Bora ukuja na heshima. Useme mambo yako, alafu kwende. Kwa sababu sisi sio watu ya fujo. Lakini hiyo madharau ukiendelea nayo, ukikataa kuachana na hiyo tabia ya matusi, wewe tutakuaibisha bwana. Wewe nani wewe? Wewe nani? Wewe nani? Niseme nisiseme. Niseme nisiseme. Niseme nisiseme. Juzi wewe umeenda pale na kimbelembele na madharau. Pale Mbeere North, ukaanza kuingia hapo mahali ambao hujakanyanga siku ile ulikuwa naibu wa rais. Saa hiyo unajifanya marafiki na watu ya Mbeere, ukazunguka pale, ukajipiga kipua, ukasema wewe ni maarifu. Sisi tukakuja pale, tukakwambia tutakuangusha. Tulimwangusha, tukumwangusha. Tulimnyoa, tukumnyoa. tulimnyoa, tukumnyoa. Tukafika pale tukasema Wamuthende, 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 Wamuthende.
All right, that reminds us when the by-elections for Mbeere North actually were happening, where the Wamuthende thing came. And of course, yesterday we had the Deputy President, Professor Kithure Kindiki, warning the opposition or the united opposition from criticizing the government. And you know, taja kwamba wali wanasiasa hicho ndicho ambacho wanakula nacho. That's what they mention here and there. That is what they use in ensuring that wamepata chakula chao cha kila siku through what they are saying. Of course, the Wamuthende phrase. Before we get there, of course, before we crown it up, first of all, let's see what the president, of course, having a meeting yesterday. President Ruto ordered the NTSA to deploy smart traffic cameras and instant fines nationwide with 1 month to crash road corruption. That is as per the president speaking yesterday. And of course, we saw he was taking it hard on the CS, Davis Chirchir, who is the minister or the minister for transport in the country, that's the minister for roads and transport, and of course giving an ultimatum of 1 month to ensure that those smart cameras have been installed, working, and of course to ensure that the corruption on the roads are no more. First of all, let's hear what the president was mentioning. Na alikuwa anaonekana kwamba ni mtu amekasirika. Hebu tuone, is it will Davis Chirchir survive in the ministerial department? Let's first of all see what the president spoke out, and of course the directives he gave yesterday.
I have always wondered why we have taken forever Davis, the Minister of Transport, and team. Why don't we enforce the instant fines program? Why haven't we rolled out the cameras on our roads? You know, it is just as simple as that. We have a new guy at NTSA. I hope he's here. Yes, we have this new guy at NTSA. It is my position, Waziri, that within the shortest time possible, let us roll out the cameras. We've been discussing this forever. You know? When can we have the cameras on the roads, Davis? You haven't answered my question, Davis. When? When? Let's cut it to the chase.
Because of the investors program, let's give it a maximum of
1 month.
1 month, thank you.
It has to be 1 month.
Thank you,
I know it can be done within 1 month.
We'll do it, Your Excellency.
So, when you leave this place, Bwana DG, go do what you have to do with the support of the minister and the Minister of Transport. Rolling out the cameras is not rocket science. We've had cameras before on the roads. So let us roll out cameras in the, is it 5 or 6 major towns in Kenya?
You can tell from the facial expressions, the questions being asked, why are we taking it long? I know it can take 1 month. The questions that were directed to the Minister for Roads and Transport, Davis Chirchir, where exactly he was asked how long will it take for the CCTV cameras or the smart cameras to be, the smart traffic cameras to be installed on roads and start working. And of course, he said that categorically that they only need 1 month. And in 1 month, let's say that we start counting from yesterday, or let's say starting counting from today being 3rd of March, let's say by 4th of April next year, 4th of April next month, that is 2026, we are expecting to see that is happening. And remember saying that they are now having a new guy at NTSA, they are ensuring that things will be working out. And let's just wait and see whether is it going to work or not. And of course, from some of the comments we have seen, is that this one known as Andrew Nyanduaro saying that, but I have not heard saying such a cameras to be put in shower rooms to and serial houses. Of course, this is Andrew Nyanduaro here. And of course, other comments here and there. Of course, I will read them as we move on. And of course, other trending stories that yesterday the deputy party leader for Jubilee Party, Dr. Fred Okengo Matiang'i, was welcomed by Women League Chair Honorable Maison Leshomo for a consultative meeting ahead of the official opening of the party Samburu County headquarters. And of course, that is something that happened yesterday. And of course, the deputy party leader Fred Okengo Matiang'i, alongside the senator for Kisii, Onyonka, and other leaders attended that meeting yesterday, and other leaders from Samburu County, and of course the grassroots leaders for Jubilee Party. And elsewhere is that of course, another thing that we saw talking about the trending story of the trending story about the death of Emuru Wadikri, Member of Parliament, and of course what Davis Chirchir, who is the Transport CS, gave the chronology of events which transpired before the ill-fated chopper bearing Emuru Wadikri, Member of Parliament, Johanna Ngeno, and 5 others, saying that the helicopter registration number 5Y DSP left Wilson Airport on Saturday, 28th February 2026 at 11:04 a.m. with only Captain George Were, the pilot, on board. And of course, the chopper arrived at Honorable Ngong Ngeno's home in Emuru Wadikri at 11:55 a.m. And of course, it departed Emuru Wadikri at 12:20 p.m. with Honorable Ngong Ngeno, Nick Kosgei, Sportpesa Rono, Karos Keter, and Amos Ngotich on board, and landed at Mararianda River, that is Mararianda River, at around 12:29 p.m. and departed Mararianda at 12:54 p.m. still with Honorable Ngong Ngeno and his team, landed at Endebess at 2:07 p.m. where Honorable Ngong Ngeno, that is Johanna Ngeno, and his crew alighted to attend a function. The chopper left immediately for Eldoret Airstrip with only the pilot on board for refueling and picking 2 passengers, including cameraman Kipchirchir Monsok. The chopper landed at Eldoret Airstrip at 2:29 p.m. and of course departed the Eldoret Airstrip at 3:07 p.m. and landed again at Endepes at 3:41 p.m. Departed Endepes at 3:43 p.m. with Honorable Ngong Ngeno, Nikki Kosgei, Karos Ketel, Sportspesa Rono, and Amos Kipngetich on board, and made an emergency landing at Tarobwo, that is Taporua, at 4:20 p.m. and took over again at 4:25 p.m. Then disappeared from the ladder at 4:26 p.m. And that is the time that it is said that it got the accident, of course, when it was trying to take off, and of course due to bad weather. And the accident appeared, and of course the CS stated that the investigation into the cause of the crash that killed Honorable Ngong Ngeno, Johanna, and his 5 aides and the pilot are ongoing, with the International Civil Aviation Organization ICAO report expected in 30 days. That is the whole story on what happened and the time the chopper left Nairobi to Emuru Wadikri, from Emuru Wadikri to Endebess, and of course from Endebess to Eldoret, and of course from Eldoret to Endebess, and of course when it was taking, or when it took an emergency landing at Tolobwa, that is Tapolwa area, and of course until when they met the accident, that's around 4:27 p.m. And of course other trending stories as we move on is that yesterday the president visited the home of the Emurua Dikri to pay tribute, of course, to pay condolences to his family, or to his family members. And later on we saw that there was an announcement made a few minutes after the president's visit that the Emurua Dikri member of parliament who died on a helicopter crash will be at Chepkep Mosop in Nandi County, will be buried on Friday in Naroko County. That is, the family says, as President William Ruto visited them yesterday at Karen home. And of course the mass funeral will be for the 6th will be conducted at Emurua Dikri Primary School. And of course expected tomorrow there will be a Requiem mass in Nairobi that will be happening there, and expecting other reports to follow on the plans that has been tabled there. Elsewhere is that another update is that the Kenya Transport Ministry is set to launch the NTSA vehicle inspections in all 47 counties from July 1st via the private partnership model, that is the PPP model. And of course the decentralized system ends long distance travel to central centers by licensing private operators nationwide. And that is good news for those people whenever you want to do an inspection for your car. Sometimes you have to drive all the way either to Nairobi and maybe to regional offices for you to do it. But now they're saying that it is going to be done in all 47 counties by July 1st this year. And elsewhere is that other trending stories here is that the Star newspaper, of course, reports that the Linda Mwananchi faction of ODM, led by Senator Edwin Sifuna, is exploring alliances with opposition leader Rigathi Gachagua and Kalonzo Musyoka. Gachagua has offered to shelve their presidential ambitions and park a strong Sifuna camp candidate to outstar Ruto, and if framed as a high-stake gamble, potential lifeline or to build the anti-Ruto momentum or landmine, risking a deeper ODM split or under isolation. Sifuna has signaled openness but factional rifts, e.g. with the main ODM and UDA talks that it continues. And of course, while Irari's energized supporters, analysts warn that the move risks splitting the faction and alienating the core ODM loyalists. And that is a story, of course, we saw on the Star newspaper. And you can be able to read more. And so those are some of the trending stories here and there. But I cannot do justice if I have not read the comments here. And of course, the comments leading from Sheira Kemunto from Emonga Kiamokama. Thank you, Sheira Kemunto, for joining and of course following Indizi TV Africa this morning on our social media platforms. Also, I can be able to see here kijana ya Ruto anasema kwamba namna gani eti nimwambie yule kijana wa niambie Aleka kwamba Arsenal is the EPL champion. Sijui nirudie tena kama yule kijana wa masuala haya amesikia lile ambalo limetajwa na shabiki. Sio mimi nimetaja, Alex, ni kijana ya Ruto anasema kwamba watching live, tell Aleka Arsenal is the EPL champions. All right? I hope the point is home. Regrand Baba Chantal anasema kwamba awesome watch following live from Migori. Thank you. Alex Ayako following from Kisii town. Anasema kwamba Arsenal ni one term. Ni sawa, lakini it is the reading. Wewe ndio umesema na sisi ndio tumeona pale ni kipi ambacho kinaendelea. So you can't tell us what to hear or what you want us to say, but the fact is Arsenal is leading the EPL, and of course it will be taking, of course itakuwa inabeba league. But before we get there, as I crown up, I need to inform you on what has been trending or what has been happening in the political, actually in the what has been happening in the field for sports. That is from what happened. That is this is let's have a look at on what happened. We saw Wolves. Okay, not that one. Let me open it here. And of course, today we, that is March of 29 out of 38. But before we get there, let's look at March 28 over 38. What happened here? Wolves and Aston Villa walicheza, and of course Wolves won 2-0. That was on Friday. And of course Bournemouth and Sunderland played on Saturday, and they got a draw. That was on Saturday. Liverpool versus West Ham, where Liverpool iliwacharaza West Ham mabao 5-2. Newcastle na Everton wakacheza. Newcastle ikashinda mabao 3-2. Pale Burnley versus Brentford ikashinda 4-3 kwa Burnley. And then Leeds United Manchester City ikashinda bao 1-0. And of course Brighton, that was on Sunday, Brighton and Nottingham Forest. Brighton won 2-1. Fulham versus Tottenham Hotspurs, Fulham 1-1. And of course Manchester United versus Crystal Palace. Na hapa hawa wangwana walipata mnyonge, na ikiwa kwamba wamepatiwa red card, ndio bado wakashinda mabao 2-1. Ndiye Aleka pale akaamuka kupiga simu, usipochukua anakupigia with a new number, usipochukua bado anakupigia Messenger, WhatsApp, kote. And then of course they won 2-1, and of course Crystal Palace got a red card. And then when it came to Arsenal, of course we won 2-0, and of course Chelsea got a red card, and this red card came to the man who was also given a yellow card earlier on, and of course was given another yellow card that led him to get off the field. And of course March 29 of 38, that is today, Everton versus Burnley will be playing at 10:30. Bournemouth versus Brentford will be playing at the same time. And of course Leeds United versus Sunderland at the same time. Wolves versus Liverpool will be playing today at 11:15 p.m. And of course Brighton versus Arsenal. Kesho tutakutana na Brighton na tutafanya ile kitu yenye vile tunafanyanga. That is Nottingham Forest versus Manchester City watakuwa wanacheza kesho. Fulham versus West Ham kesho pia. Aston Villa na Chelsea watakutana kesho. Newcastle United versus Manchester United watapatana kesho. Na hapa nakwambia Newcastle mfanye ile kitu, mfanye mazoezi vizuri, msharazi hao wangwana vibaya sana. Nottingham Forest versus Crystal Palace nao watakuwa wanacheza siku ya Alhamisi tarehe 5 kuanzia saa 5 usiku. Ni baadhi tu ya michezo ambayo itakuwa inaendelea kuchezwa hapa na pale, na kukufahamisha kwamba Camel Park Rangers also will be facing Global Connection this weekend. That's on Sunday at Rigoma grounds, and of course we wish them all the best. The last game they played, or that is KPR, walicheza waligaragaza mtu mabao 3. Na hivyo ndivyo basi tunatarajia katika kipindi ambacho kitakafanyika siku ya Jumapili wiki hii. Na basi kufika hapo sina la ziada ila tu kushukuru na kusema kwamba thank you so much for those who woke up with us, the likes of Sheila Kemunto, kijana ya Ruto, Regrand Baba Chantel na Alex Ayako. Lakini Alex Ayako ujue kwamba Arsenali mwaka huu ama ligi hii ni yetu. Na hapo ndipo nafika tamati nikisema kwamba asante sana na shukran kwa kufuatilia kipindi chetu cha asubuhi Morning Bus here at Ndizi TV Africa with me Jeff Nyakundi, and of course my director has been Alex Mungare. Let's meet again tomorrow same time same place as we open and of course inform you on what's going on and what has been trending. Bye bye for now, have a fruitful day, and of course remember watoto wanarudi kutoka after wanarudi shule, ensure that your kid, your girl, your boy has gone back to school. Bye bye for now, have a fruitful day ahead.